I want to take a few moments to discuss something I think may be one of the most important topics I've ever really discussed, and it has to do with power, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about if you're sick, if you're diagnosed with some illness, whether it's diabetes, obesity, an autoimmune disorder, cancer, dementia, something like that. And often what people want to know is why is that? Why do I have this disease? And often we're told by physicians, well, we don't really know for sure, or maybe it's some sort of genetic cause, or perhaps, you had a bad lifestyle, or you smoked, or you got overweight, or something like that. And then if you ask further, well, why did that occur? Why did I get overweight? Well, you just ate too much. Well, why did that occur? And you keep asking the questions and dig down, and eventually you're going to come up a wall where people put their hand up, and we don't really know why that is. And so that's somewhat disempowering because you don't have a source of the problem, a true source of the problem. So you've lost some power there. And then usually, again, the treatment is very often some sort of medication, some sort of pharmaceutical, which again is also disempowering because now not only do you not know why this is occurring, but now you're dependent upon someone else, a medication, a physician to provide you some level of relief. And you think about how depressingly dependent and disempowered you may become in that situation. And I think a lot of people clearly are in that situation, and they often, well, most often, they don't actually get better. They're symptomatically managed over a period of time. And you contrast that with sort of a different approach. And if you look at why are diseases occurring, why are chronic diseases occurring? Well, I think there are acute and chronic stressors, and there are basically things that are essentially poisonous to us. I mean, I think that accounts for most of this, and some of these acute stresses are, a car accident, a traumatic, physically or emotionally traumatic event. Those things do occur. Chronic stresses, I mean, lack of sleep, living next to a refinery or something like that. I mean, these things are there and they're knowable. And the question is, once you start to say, but I think the biggest thing, the biggest chronic environmental issue we face is our food supply. I mean, I honestly think that's what that is. And if you have the insight, or even if the rare physician has the insight into this to look into this and say this can be helpful. Now, this is going to take a period of time, but guess what? Once you have that insight, can you manage chronic stress? Sure, you can. To a degree. Can you manage or avoid acutely traumatic events? Some you can, some you can't. But at the same time, you have a way to sort of mitigate those things. But can you change some of the environmental poisons that we're experiencing? To some degree, you can. And one of the largest things you can do is obviously fix your diet. And then once you sort of have this sort of knowledge, and you have a cooperative partner, whether it's a healthcare provider or a friend or somebody else or a health coach, then you start getting some of that power back, right? You become suddenly empowered rather than disempowered. Rather than becoming dependent, you become independent. And I think that is an incredibly important concept. I think so many people are walking around defeated, dependent, disempowered, and depressed because of the aforementioned stuff I talked about. And I think our healthcare system, in a way, maybe they don't maybe want to get to the root cause, because where do they make the money? They make the money on you being dependent and disempowered and addicted to, well, chronically dependent upon medications. I mean, that is the sad reality of the situation. In my view, and we have this company Rivero. I hope we take people in, treat them, fix them, and tell them get away. We don't want to see you anymore because you're better. That's I think the true way to do healthcare is to fix people so they don't need it anymore. And we have a lot of people sick and suffering in this country. We have literally hundreds of millions of people just in the U.S. alone that are in bad shape. Either they're currently in bad shape or they're going to be in bad shape. It's one of these things when we talk about cancer and dementia and things like that. Those things, in my view, are probably largely preventable for the vast majority of people. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think about this concept of empowerment and disempowerment. Has anybody ever felt disempowered by the healthcare system? And have you felt like you've gotten, some independence back by, taking it into your own hands? Remember, who has skin in the game? I don't care, how great your doctor is. They don't have the skin in the game that you do. So it's incredibly important not to outsource your health. I've said that many times before. But think about it from a power dynamic structure. You want to be powerful. You want to have the power. And it starts by fixing the things that are making you sick and finding out the things that are making you sick, right? And most likely it's those things I talked about: environmental toxins, poisons, and stresses. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.